Veiled in mystery and conspiracy, the Georgia Guidestones have long intrigued the world. Rising from the rural landscapes of Elbert County, these granite giants bore a message for humanity, written by an unknown and mysterious person who wished to remain anonymous. The messages were etched in the tongues of eightfold corners of the earth. Constructed in the year 1979, the Guidestones were not the brainchild of any renowned architect or philosopher, but were commissioned by a man who chose to remain in the shadows, a man known only by the pseudonym Robert C. Christian. The true identity of this figure remains concealed to this day, adding a layer of intrigue to the already perplexing monument. However, it was most likely someone extremely wealthy at the time. No one seems to know who raised the money or paid to have the granite slabs excavated, polished, engraved, and erected. No one that is except Elberton banker Wyatt C. Martin, who acted as intermediary for the entire monumental task, and the mysterious R.C. Christian. All the people in the inner circle vowed to carry the secret of the identity of the mystery man to their graves. All that has been made public is this. One Friday in June, a man carrying a shoebox containing a model of the project entered the office of Joe Fendley, president of the Elberton Granite Finishing Co. Fendley recalled that the man, who called himself R.C. Christian, said he was representing a loyal group of Americans living outside Georgia who had been working on a 20-year-long project at a message for future generations, who wanted to make a dramatic statement about the world and American values. Whilst it is obvious that this person purposefully chose to keep his true identity hidden, perhaps he chose to remain hidden in the shadows because he and the group he represented knew that the messages inscribed upon the stones once discovered would be the center of controversy. It seems highly plausible. His intentions were cryptic. Were the Guidestones intended to serve as a guide for humanity, post-calamity, or perhaps a plan much more sinister? If so, what calamity did this faceless benefactor foresee? A natural disaster, a global conflict, a pandemic? However, evidence seems to suggest the messages were supposed guidelines for the New World Order, which has always been labeled as a conspiracy theory, even though many politicians, presidents, and the royal families have publicly spoken of a New World Order for many decades. It is no secret that the members of the World Economic Forum also desire to create a New World Order. Things are only a conspiracy until it becomes evidently true. If something is true, then it cannot be labeled as just a conspiracy theory any longer. So who was Robert C. Christian and the loyal group of Americans living outside Georgia who he claimed to represent? When commissioning the Guidestones, Christian described them as a guide for future generations to manage limited resources, potentially in the face of nuclear war. The Guidestones also featured a hole in the center stone, which was specially designed to view Polaris, the North Star. The gnomon stone aligned with the positions of the sun at the summer and winter solstices. The inscriptions dealt with four main themes: governance and the establishment of a world government, population and reproduction control, the environment and humankind's relationship to nature and spirituality. On each side of the capstone, engraved in four ancient languages, Babylonian cuneiform, Classical Greek, Sanskrit, and Egyptian hieroglyphic, were the words, "Let these be guidestones to an age of reason," and written in 8 languages: English, Russian, Mandarin Chinese, Arabic, Classical Hebrew, Swahili, Hindi, and Spanish, were cryptic instructions for rebuilding society post-doomsday. Maintain humanity under 500 million in perpetual balance with nature. Guide reproduction wisely. Improving fitness and diversity. Unite humanity with a living new language. Rule passion, faith, tradition, and all things with tempered reason. Protect people and nations with fair laws and just courts. Let all nations rule internally, resolving external disputes in a world court. Avoid petty laws and useless officials. Balance personal rights with social duties. Prize truth, beauty, love, seeking harmony with the infinite. Be not a cancer on the earth. Leave room for nature. Leave room for nature. It has been pointed out that the Georgia Guidestones very much resemble the architecture of the UN headquarters building in New York. The UN headquarters looks almost identical to the Georgia Guidestone slabs. Is this just a coincidence? The Georgia Guidestones reached 19 feet 3 inches towards the sky, hewn from 6 slabs of solid granite. The Georgia Guidestones were exactly 666 miles away from the United Nations headquarters in New York City. This is not a coincidence. Carved onto the granite slabs were 10 guiding principles, a supposed blueprint for humanity to follow should calamity befall. The inscribed messages as a stirring call to rational thinking, while Wired stated that unspecified opponents have labeled them as the 10 Commandments of the Antichrist. The messages etched into the stone were, however, extremely controversial and enraged many people. The principles sparked outrage. They were seen for what they were, a call for eugenics and population control, and a blueprint for a satanic new world order. Locals told stories of witchcraft taking place at the stones, and Elbert County resident Mott Clamp, whose father helped carve the granite slabs, says there have been instances of teenagers showing up dressed in black and toting buckets of chicken blood. In 2008, the stones were defaced with red aerosol paint and graffiti, with slogans such as, "Death to the New World Order," "Death to the globalists," "You will not succeed, Jesus will beat you, Satanist." Wired magazine called the defacement the first serious act of vandalism in the Guidestones' history. In September 2014, an employee of the Elbert County Maintenance Department contacted the Federal Bureau of Investigation when the stones were vandalized with graffiti, including the phrase, "Council on Foreign Relations are run by the devil, and fuck you, read this Rockefeller." After the acts of vandalism, security cameras were installed on the site. The Guidestones, a magnet of controversy and vandalism. The monument was controversial even before it was unveiled. Some locals referred to its construction as the devil's work. A local minister warned that occult groups would visit the site and that a sacrifice was imminent. A 2009 Wired article also noted that sandblaster Charlie Clamp, who spent hundreds of hours on the etching of the monument, during which time he was constantly distracted by strange music and disjointed voices. The most prominent theory revolves around the ominous population limit etched into the stones. The instruction to maintain humanity under 500 million sparked awareness to the secret globalist plot for population control. Many interpreted this as a call for mass genocide, and the Guidestones were seen as a harbinger of a dystopian future. The pseudonym of the benefactor, Robert C. Christian, also stoked the flames of controversy. The name was linked to Rosicrucianism, a secretive philosophical society believed to have ties to the Freemasons. This connection led some to view the Guidestones as a symbol of a new world order, a world governed by secret societies. To some, it's a monument to the devil. Even the physical presence of the monument was not without contention. For a select few, the Guidestones were an impressive display of granite craftsmanship. For others, they were a blatant display of Satanism. It's also worth pointing out that it was written on the Guidestones to guide reproduction wisely, improving fitness and diversity. In recent times, fertility rates are rapidly decreasing for both men and women. Just a coincidence? I think not. It has also become evident without a shadow of a doubt that an extreme push of a diversity agenda is being implemented within companies, organizations, businesses, and even within the educational systems and schools of children, both young and older, very strongly within Western white countries all over the world where young people are being encouraged to question their gender identity. Young people are being led to believe that it is possible to change their assigned gender that they were born with. Whilst gay people have always existed, they have always been within a minority, and they have generally been accepted as they are. There appears to be a strong push for people to accept this transversion of diversity of people whilst destroying real diversity. Women are having their sports ruined. It's also no secret that people of foreign lands are being actively invited to take up residence in Western white countries all over the world, which the countries are not able to manage or cope with. The native white people are becoming the minority in their own native lands, which is being done on purpose to create conflict and division by those who wish to enforce their new world order upon the entire planet. The Guidestones, once a peculiar and sinister landmark in a quiet town, became a must-see destination for conspiracy theorists, curiosity seekers, and the simply intrigued, attracting around 20,000 visitors annually. We can see the Freemason G symbol here on this stone, which clearly links the Georgia Guidestones with the secret society of Freemasonry. Upon the stone was also written a message about a hidden time capsule beneath the monument. Whether a tool of the devil for the guidelines for the New World Order, the stones have certainly stirred up a giant hornet's nest. July 6, 2022, a day of destruction. At exactly 3:33 a.m. in the morning, the tranquility of rural Georgia was shattered when an explosive device detonated, decimating the controversial Georgia Guidestones. The act, still shrouded in mystery, punctuated the stone's existence with a very surprising end. The Georgia Bureau of Investigation scrambled to uncover the identity of the perpetrator, releasing security footage in a bid to gather information. The stones, silent observers of time since 1980, were now no more. The bombing left them in ruins. The local government, faced with a rubble of controversy and safety concerns, made the decision to demolish what remained of the Guidestones. The stones, once a mystery to many, now lay in ruins, their message lost in a cloud of dust and debris. However, the stones' destruction did not silence the conjecture that surrounded them. Quite the contrary. Their obliteration intensified the intrigue, with speculations running rife about the motives behind the bombing. Was it an act of defiance against globalist plots, a protest against the controversial population cap message, or even an act of God? Perhaps it is even possible that it was destroyed by the secret societies who were behind their creation in the first place. However, we do know that no one was hurt in the bombing. The Guidestones themselves seem to be the prime target of the destruction. It is worth noting that since 2020, many people all over the world who had previously been fit and healthy sadly lost their lives, careers, and health throughout and as a result of the pandemic. Many people are awake to the fact that these societies create the problem to suggest a solution in order to control the population numbers. It's not a coincidence so many young people are dying these days with illnesses that were never a problem in previous years before the rollout of the DNA-altering injections. Perhaps the Freemasons wanted to destroy it themselves to remove the evidence of the Georgia Guidestones because they did not expect to become the center of a huge conspiracy that they are no longer able to hide in the shadows like they have been able to do in times past. Perhaps they believed we would all forget about the Georgia Guidestone monument if it ceased to exist anymore. Anything is a possibility once you consider all of the inside jobs that corrupt governments perform all the time, thinking they get away with it because they believe themselves to be above the law which everyone else has to abide by. The stones, once standing tall, are now a shattered memory. However, their destruction was extremely good news to the hearts of many good, honest people who possibly identify as being anti-globalist. Yet in their destruction, the Guidestones have become an even greater enigma. The act that brought them down only served to amplify their mystery. Was it even an act of God warning those secret societies that he disapproves of their actions and deeds which they practice in secret? Coincidentally, fertility rates have dropped. A perverted version of diversity is being rammed down everyone's throats, and the population numbers certainly drastically decreased after the pandemic and the global vaccination program. It is all these recent events that have given a new boost to the conspiracy that has been an obsession with conspiracy theorists and truth seekers for the past 4 decades. The site gained renewed attention in 2022 when Candace Taylor, a Republican Georgia congressional candidate, described the Guidestones as satanic and made demolishing the pillars a key part of her campaign against the Luciferian cabal. Taylor praised the bombing of the monument and suggested it was part of God's plan. God is God all by himself. He can do anything he wants to do. That includes striking down satanic Guidestones, Taylor tweeted. A number of influential figures in the QAnon movement also praised the attack on the Guidestones. The Georgia Guidestones arrogantly displayed the cabal's satanic plan by proclaiming that they desired to keep the world population under 500 million. One QAnon account on Telegram, which has nearly 200,000 followers, wrote, Their plans are coming to ruin, and we, the people, will thrive like never before. Babylon is literally falling. If that doesn't deserve an amen, then I don't know what does. News of the monument's demolition has been cheered in some online circles. Conspiracy theorist Alex Jones said he enjoyed the bombing of the stones. I will say that at an animal level, I like seeing this edifice to the population world government bombed to bring attention to it. I do not agree with whoever did it because we need that evil edifice there as a confession letter. Another QAnon account, with more than 67,000 followers, said, "An evil monument like the Georgia Guidestones had to come down. They simply don't fit in the America that God is about to fully restore." The explosive attack of the Georgia Guidestones came out of nowhere and truly felt symbolic for many of the secret society's totalitarian plans collapsing before their very eyes. Their destruction was celebrated by many, a victory of the light. Another theory is that the destruction of the Guidestones could have been an inside job in order to conceal the premeditated plans of murder and population control, which is probably least likely. Or could it really have been an act of God sent as a warning sent to the dark side, those whose wish is to enslave humanity and cause people harm? It's very intriguing that the stones were attacked at exactly 3:33 a.m. on the 6th of July 2022. The stones are gone, but the memories linger. The Georgia Guidestones may have been reduced to rubble, but their mysterious message is far from forgotten. In the aftermath of the destruction, the local government, initially keen to rebuild the monument, ceased plans for reconstruction, a decision that is most wise for them not to be rebuilt. The remains of the Guidestones were donated to the Elberton Granite Association. These shattered pieces of what once was serve as a stark reminder of the monument's sinister principles. Even in their fragmented state, the stones continue to draw public interest. The incident seems to have ignited a renewed fervor, a fascination with the Guidestones. Despite the destruction, the Guidestones' message remains a hot topic. The controversial call to limit the world's population to 500 million in particular continues to stir up discussions on population control and environmental sustainability. It would seem that when the parasite elitists of the World Economic Forum speak of environmental sustainability, it is double speech for population control. It is a trickery play on language, much like legalese. The Guidestones' destruction has not silenced the questions surrounding their origin. However, we do know for sure that they were linked with the Freemasons because they had their emblem inscribed within the stones. The mystery of Robert C. Christian, the man who commissioned the monument under a pseudonym, was likely a high-level Freemason. Charlie Clamp, who spent hours etching the stones, took the secret of the mystery man's true identity with him to the grave. However, we do know he was representing a much larger group. It is very clear they were some form of secret society. When will secret societies learn that the times are over for hiding in the shadows? The truth that is hidden will always be brought to light. His true identity and reasons for creating the Guidestones are strongly linked with the Freemasons. Even in their absence, the Guidestones continue to provoke thought. Their physical form may be gone, but their memory endures, fostering discussions and theories that keep the intrigue surrounding the Georgia Guidestones alive. We hope you have enjoyed this journey into the tale of the Georgia Guidestones. It's a story that continues to inspire thought, even in their absence. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives into such fascinating topics. Your support helps us bring these unique stories to life. Thank you very much for watching. The engagement and curiosity of viewers like you are what make this channel thrive. It's been a pleasure having you here, unraveling the mysteries of the Guidestones together. Until our next exploration, stay curious, continue to ask questions, and never stop seeking the truth. The world is full of mysteries, waiting to be unraveled. Until next time, dear viewers, stay curious.